Gun Geeks, I'm Destiny from Guns Gear and Fitness, and this is one of my videos later in the day from Nonstop Shot, so I'll just go ahead and give you my disclaimer. I am from running out of juice. But I have here Reid from Tactical Response. Some of you may already recognize him from some of the videos that he's done and been in. But while I have this opportunity of so many gun folks in one spot at SHOT Show, I figured I would snag him for a couple of minutes and talk to you a little bit about concealed carry. And I guess I had a couple of more specific questions, but I'd like to hear, as you're a trainer and clearly a concealed carry advocate, what are your thoughts on why people should carry, what lessons we can bring from history and apply it to today? With regard to like liberty, freedom, and our Second Amendment rights.
That's a good question.
Kind of general, but I'm just interested in your feedback, so go with it where you will.
No, I appreciate that. First of all, y'all out there don't know, this is actually the first conversation that we've ever had, like literally, right?
Pretty much.
Ever. So it's right here. So
I knew you existed because of that wonderful YouTube community. Yeah.
I exist. I am simply existing. But no, that's a good question. And so why? Let's tackle the first one. Why should people carry concealed or just carry it? How about just carry? Or carry it all? All right. Well, there's a couple good reasons. Number one, bad stuff happens. All right. You'd be pretty much one of the most frontal lobe challenged people in the world if you think that there aren't bad criminals out there that are hurting bad people. And then people will say, yeah, but that's what they have the police for. I am a former police officer, and I can tell you that I most certainly didn't prevent crime. I reacted to it. And, furthermore, what do police carry? Oh, yeah, guns. To use against the same violent criminals that prey on people. All right, so that's number one. We have to acknowledge that bad people exist, right? We know it. We all know bad people. Maybe you had something bad happen to you yourself, but there's bad people out there. So if there's bad people, there gotta be good people, right? So number one, I think the reason people should carry is because there are bad people, and you have a God-given right to protect yourself, right? Natural right, right to self-defense, and it would exist outside of government. It would exist outside of any society. So if God gives me permission to do that, I really don't care what some legislator says. Number one, there's bad, so we got to get good people out there. Number two, I don't know when bad stuff's going to happen to you. I don't know when it's going to happen to me. I don't know when it's going to happen to my mom or my friends or my dad or whatever. And because I don't know when that stuff's going to happen, you should probably have it on you. It's kind of like you wear your seatbelt. You don't know when you're going to get in a crash in a car, but it's a good idea to wear your seatbelt, right?
Yeah.
So there's just a couple of reasons why.
That's pretty straightforward. So do you think that there are historical applications that we can, or lessons that we can learn from even just American history to apply to today?
Like are there historical...
With regard to concealed carry or carry.
Arming yourself?
Arming yourself.
Yeah, there's plenty. Like if I don't know if anybody out there is familiar with Niccolo Machiavelli. He wrote The Prince and also The Discourse. His Discourse is better. The Prince is kind of like aristocratic self-aggrandizement, but in it he talks about the way to control the people is to control arms, right? So if people have arms, they have control over their own destiny, all right? And it's very punny. And if you have, and you do that, and if you, so basically, our founding fathers wrote, some of them wrote the Bill of Rights, George Mason, but he put that, he put that in the Bill of Rights because he understood that an armed populace is a free one. They all say this. They all say that arms is what separates America from the rest of the world, and we're a free nation because we're armed. And historical examples of why to do it are, how can you ignore all the bad stuff that's happened in countries where guns weren't even allowed by their citizens? The Soviet Union, Nazi Germany, Tito's Yugoslavia, in Cambodia with Pol Pot. Look at North Korea. That crazy dude over there. So, countries that got these, that just do that, usually bad stuff happens. So, yeah, I think it's a good idea to have a firearm just because of that. But, I don't know. That's just kind of obvious, I guess. What do you think?
Well, it might be a little bit of a case of preaching to the choir because I do choose to conceal carry. There's that old adage that you hear everywhere, I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And I can't guarantee that just because I've had, 13 or 15 years of martial arts, that I can use it, that I can depend on it. And especially coming from my female perspective, I know that at a certain point, sometimes a dude can just like outmuscle me, and if they want something, they're gonna go about getting it, regardless of whether or not there's a law that tells them no, don't do it. If bad people want to do bad things, they're just going to do it. They don't necessarily need a reason, even. They don't need to be enticed necessarily. They might just plain do something that I want the opportunity, the option to be able to protect myself from,
Right.
or my loved ones. Do I think that carrying a firearm is a guarantee that I'm going to be able to stop whatever it is? No. I mean, I'm not.
Is carrying a fire or having a fire extinguisher a guarantee that your house isn't going to burn down?
Yeah.
But it helps.
But I'd rather at least have an option that I can deploy if I need to.
Okay.
I mean, partly because of the experience I've had with martial arts. I did competition sparring for a couple of years, and I love it. I mean, it's fun. It's a great activity as far as like stress release goes, and it's very exciting. But I realized once I start moving out of my weight class, there's only so much I can do. And any time I was ever pitted with a male, I would really have to work that extra step with my tactics or my strategy with how I was going to approach a particular match. And that's why I couldn't compete, that's why you don't get to compete with cross-gender divisions, because we recognize there are just plain human limitations. And that's the female aspect. But
Sure.
just in general, I think you said it really simply but accurately that there are bad people and sometimes they do bad things.
Yeah.
Without even necessarily there being a reason. So if that does happen, at least I have something with which to meet the threat.
Mm-hmm. You're talking about, the differences in physical statures and abilities, right? That's one-on-one. So now...
It's just something I really have to consider from my perspective.
For anybody's, right? I mean, think about this, almost half the time or even more, bad guys attack in pairs, at least two people, I mean, imagine that, 2 or 3 people, that's a pretty... it's not a real easy situation to be in, so kind of helps equal things out a little bit.
The playing field touch.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no, not a guarantee,
No.
but
you got a hell of a lot better chance.
yeah. Well, thanks for chatting with me for a few minutes. I know it's the end of your day too.
Yeah.
And it's wearing down for everybody, but I appreciate taking a couple minutes each.
Of course, I'm glad that you had me on here, and look forward to the rest of the show.
Yeah, me too. And right now, honestly, I'm looking forward to that hotel room and a bed. That sounds really great right about now. But I'm sure I'll see you around the show.
Absolutely.